Hey everybody, welcome to episode 7 of the Outdoor Adventure Hour. And Jason did get all the branding correct on the screen this week, which thanks to Rob for reminding me backstage that I need to change everything around. Um, Thanks for joining us today as we talk about cleaning guns. And as usual, well, you got this guy right here. I don't know who he is. Just keeps showing up, and as many times as I just keep on telling him to go away, he keeps showing up. But apparently, this is some guy I know, and he runs the channel Lupo Outdoors. Rob, it's been a week, man. We're kind of going through withdrawal. What's going on?
Just been everywhere, man. It's I flew out to go to a conference where I'm at, and took a break to do this. That particular day for that 1 week, it was going to be a little crazy, so we decided to skip that. But today I was like, it's too hot. it's like it's so hot, and I just like I need to.
Well,
I'm like, let's do it this week,
You are in a desert, so
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So
Yeah,
that does happen.
Yeah. So but I did go to a range day, and
Yes. Yeah, I know you sent me pictures of some stuff, man, and I'm kind of jealous because you were like shooting like I don't know, like farther than I could see.
yeah, it was really cool. I was shooting 6.5 PRC, and I was hitting all my targets, didn't miss anything. So they said, all right, let's try this. And first shot hit my target at 1,219 yards, and then took a second shot and placed it right next to it. So that was
Well,
cool.
it's so funny because you're talking about hitting those shots. I'm like, okay, you can now move from 25 yards to 50 yards. Well, let's face it, man. We all know that you weren't shooting that far.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of fun. I mean, I did 100 yards, to make sure that I was sighted in. And then we went 350 yards. And then we jumped from 350 yards to 1219. And
That's a big jump.
it's a huge jump. And I had
900 yards.
It was a good scope, and the damn target looked tiny in the damn scope, with full magnification. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hold it over here, and boom.
Kind of just arced it in.
Dude,
which is kind of funny because that kind of leads us a little bit into today's topic. So for those of you joining the podcast, we said it a few times. The way this works is that the person that's sitting in that queue comes up with the idea for the podcast that we're on now. And then the person in this side gets to play host and interview that guy. So Rob came up with this, and he finally popped back up on the radar yesterday. He calls me up. He goes, hey, what are we going to talk about on the podcast tomorrow? I'm taking a break. And I go, it's your turn. So he came up with gun cleaning. We're going to talk a little bit about gun cleaning here because, I think about gun cleaning. Actually, we talked a little bit about gun cleaning on the podcast I recorded that'll come out on Sunday. But things have changed over the years. And I think about, I've been shooting for over 40 years. And the way I cleaned a gun 40 years ago is completely different than the way I clean a gun now. So let's start talking about pistols. So pistols.
Let's go something easier. Let's talk shotguns first.
Talk shotguns, but it's just because you're a shotgun guy. That's all right.
And
so
okay. I mean, it's like shotguns. It's funny is when you look at the different firearms. If I look at, and we'll talk about it later, when we look at like bolt action rifles, and then we look at precision bolt action rifles for competitions, the cleaning routine is a little different. But there's almost really no difference between cleaning my $15,000 shotgun or a $1,000 shotgun. It or less. It's still the same principle. Um, you know, you disassemble the barrel, you take everything, all of the hardware off, the wood, and then it's a process of just cleaning out the barrel tubes. There's no rifling, so you're just basically most of the times I just use a bore snake and
Yeah, there is no rifling, isn't it?
yeah.
So I just happen to have a shotgun barrel here.
Just so happened.
Just
Then
so happened.
when you're doing that, so with the precision shotguns, I will focus on and making sure that the springs are lubed in the trigger mechanisms, and that my folding stock, that we use a special grease that has these tiny little brass BBs in it. I mean, really micro, tiny ones, and you rub it in there and you open and close the action several times to get to work it in. But it's interesting because the cleaning of the bore is the cleaning of the bore, and if I'm not gonna do a thorough cleaning of my shotgun, I'll just put a little bit of solvent on a bore snake and I'll run it through, a couple of times, and then that's it. The big thing that people forget when they're cleaning a shotgun is to take the chokes off and
I was
clean
going to
the
ask you about.
threads.
I was going to ask you about the chokes because you got a lot of stuff going down that barrel. Then all of a sudden it's going right at the end there.
Yep.
Depending on what choke you're running, and then because you can get not. I mean, we're so used to dealing with on pistols and rifles. We're talking about leading and copper fouling and stuff like that. But in shotguns, we have the plastic wads is also leaving some stuff behind. And real quick, while we're talking here, we do have Krabby Turtle. Turtle has checked in on the chat there. Glad to have you here. And G23 has joined us as well. So if you guys are out there, man, definitely drop a comment in the chat so we know you're here, and also chime in on your thoughts about that. But anyways, going back to it, so now we have the shot going through the barrel. We have powder residue and plastic residue going down the barrel. Is there anything special we got to do because now we have the plastic, or is it just the solvents take care of that?
What like I said, every time I shoot, I'll always run a bore snake through, with a little bit of solvent in it, on the front thing, and then it has little wire bristles, and then the wadding in the back kind of clean it out, and I'll run it through a couple of times on each barrel. It really depends on how much you're going to shoot. So if you're going to go out there and you're going to drop just 25 rounds through the shotgun, a simple bore snake through it, after you're done, is more than adequate. If I'm doing a competition and I'm plugging 500 rounds through the shotgun, once I get about 200, I'll find the break. So if we're doing like a bunch of skeet and then we all break for lunch, I'm cleaning my shotgun. I want to get a lot of that out of there. And like I said, everybody forgets about the choke tubes. They just think of it. It gathers a lot of gunk there. So take off the the tubes, and then clean that up. If I'm doing a thorough cleaning, I don't really do the bore snake. Like G23 says, I run my wads through and get a nice, a good clean. The bore snake is just to do kind of like a little quickie clean, but a lot of people depend on it to just clean it. And like, I ran a bore snake through it, it's fine. I'm like, you still got to kind of lube up things, and you still got to kind of grease the mechanisms, and don't forget the triggers. But is like, pull the chokes off, clean the chokes, use a decent solvent. One of the biggest mistakes that people use or do, and this for any firearm, is they'll use a cleaner that has ammonia in it. Never, ever use a cleaner that has ammonia. It deteriorates the metal. It's horrible.
Yep.
Absolutely horrible. Some people are like, that's no big deal. I'm like, well, if you're only shooting the gun, once or twice every couple of months, then you don't care. But, if you want it to last, you got to be a little bit cognitive of that.
The only time I use something with ammonia in it is we're talking about some really bad barrels anyway, right? I mean, we're talking about stuff that's really caked up, gunked in. I just need that little extra. But even then, I don't have a solvent with ammonia in it anymore. I have all kinds of other stuff.
You're absolutely correct. If it's absolutely filthy, like if I get a used firearm and it's just filthy, then having that ammonia is that extra kick. But the moment I'm done using the ammonia, I'll take alcohol, and it's got to be medical grade, 90% or better on the ISO, whatever you call it, the rubbing alcohol. You want 90% or better. I usually do about 95%, and you run that through as much as possible to really just get all of that out there and run wads through it, get rid of that ammonia. But you're right, the ammonia really does give you that extra click for cleaning. But it's not something I would run if it's not in horrible shape.
It's driving me nuts because I have alcohol. It's somewhere around here.
Wait, driving you nuts? Do you have a shift well belt buckle?
I do. Thanks for bringing that joke up. It's driving me nuts because I just had it out because it just did a video on. It released earlier today about fitting leather holsters, and I use denatured alcohol to do that with. Yeah. And it's pretty high proof. I mean, it's actually when you buy denatured alcohol at the store, it's not even denatured. It's this alcohol fuel. So, but that stuff does amazing at cleaning stuff up.
I agree. If you're trying to get amazing out, the alcohol removes it. Also,
it's cool.
Here's the other kick about having that high grade alcohol is if you have moisture in the gun, the alcohol displaces water. So it's an old trick with electronics. Got my electronics wet, you pull out the batteries, you soak it in high percentage of rubbing alcohol, shake it dry, and no more water and no corrosion. So once I've cleaned everything, I will do a very light coat of oil, like through the barrel on the outside. And then I'll kind of just wipe one wad through just to remove any of the excess oil and let the rest of it just kind of soak in. But shotguns are like the easiest to clean. And then it becomes difficult.
Because that's the whole thing is, if you have a break action, well, it's nice and easy because you have access to the entire barrel. If you don't, this is off a Winchester, an 870 Wingmaster, not a Winchester. I got Winchester on the brain. Where, you just take the cap off and slide it off. And a lot of the semi-autos are the same way.
Yeah.
They're not hard to clean at all. And definitely you don't have to worry about the lands and grooves unless you're talking about a slug gun, a rifled slug barrel. But yeah, they are so easy to do because of that smooth bore. It's nice. That's one thing when I used to shoot trap as a kid, when we used to clean them, I would want to clean my shotgun any day of the week before any of my pistols or rifles. Yep. It was just that much easier. Now, G23 was talking a little bit about Aegis Gun Care, which I still got to introduce you to Rod. You don't really know those products, but What do you use for your cleaning right now?
What do I use
Yeah.
currently? So I use Amsoil's gun cleaner and oil to lube up my guns. I've been pretty happy with it. It's a synthetic oil and it bonds to the metal, so I've had a pretty good luck with that. But it doesn't mean I'm sold on it. I mean that's all I use. I was given like a sample, 2 bottles, one of the cleaner and one of the lubricant to play around with, and so far it's been pretty good. But yeah, I still want to check out the other gun care products that we talked about
Aegis.
before.
God, I used to have it sitting right there. You can tell I cleaned up because I can't find a damn thing
Yeah.
in the shop. All right. So, and that's the thing is I roll through a couple of different stuff. I still have a bottle of Hoppies laying around that doesn't get used because you buy the big ass bottle, like, and it lasts you like 40 years. I have some stuff for copper fouling if it's a really bad copper fouling. I've got some stuff here from um, Real Avid that works pretty good. And then I have the stuff from Aegis. Aegis is kind of my go-to on a lot of stuff. The reason why I like their oil is a lot of companies, you know how oil is lighter than water. Well, their oil is heavier than water. So we always talk about oil will displace water. It actually thins out, the water actually ends up thinning out the oil, whereas when the oil is heavier than the water, it gets between the water and the metal. And it actually kind of lifts that water up. So that's why I really like that stuff. And it's a really, it's some really good stuff. Cleaners, I mean, I roll through so many different cleaners. It just depends on what I'm cleaning and when I'm cleaning. And, if I got a really dirty gun, man, I'll take it outside. And I'm talking like super dirty, like really nasty, dirty. This is one of the things I used to do for when I was in FFL, and I get like a gun and it was just, it's a used gun. It was just a total trash job. I'd hit it with brake cleaner before I'd even start cleaning it, just trying to get the gunk off.
A lot of guys do. Actually, brake cleaner is what we use to clean our shotguns a lot of the time. Just spray it down the barrel, wait a few seconds, and scrub it out.
It's gone. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it just evaporates, and then you throw a patch through it, and then you oil, and you're ready to go.
Yeah,
it cleans that stuff out really great.
You know what's one of the most hardest firearms to clean? It's most time consuming. Black powder.
Yeah, you see, I sat the black powder thing out. It's so funny. People laugh at me. Black powder scares the hell out of me. I just do not. It does. There's just. I always see every time I see black powder. When you say black powder, the first thing that goes through my mind when anybody says black powder is a chain fire on a revolver. That image goes through my head.
Times. I mean,
it's rare it happens, but that's the image that goes through my mind, and black powder just scares the hell out of me.
So what's interesting about chain fires is every time you see someone with a chain fire, the first thing they do is so I mean, because when you look at black powder, the process is very, very intense. So if you're using Pyrex, which is the substitute for actual black powder, it's not as corrosive as black powder is. Black powder creates like a sulfuric acid, just eat the crap out of your barrel. So, when you're going through the process, the first thing you do when you clean it is, this sounds so bizarre. You disassemble the whole gun. So you take the wood handle parts and you put those aside. Then you take the gun and this is how we used to do it. You fill the sink with piping hot water, right? And like dish soap, and you soak the guns inside that. And then at the sink, I'll sit there with, like a brass brush, and I'll just scrub the crap out of the inside of the barrel, right? And scrub it down, and, we'll scrub all the metal pieces and everything and the cylinders and all that stuff and let it soak. And then once you have that done and it's all clean, you take it out, you rinse it out off with hot water, get all that soap off, and then you put it on baking sheets or grills, and you put it in the oven for about 20-30 minutes to thoroughly dry it out. And then when you pull it out of the oven, you take your wads with oil on it, and when it's not piping hot, it's still hot, you rub all the metal, and it kind of just like sucks in the oil. And it's a process. And when I was doing Civil War reenactments, I had 3 pistols and a rifle. There's a reason I don't do Civil War reenactments. I mean, it's like, well, there goes 2 days of work. It's a pain. It's not that it's hard, but you would not clean any other gun that way. You would not soak a gun in hot soapy water, except for black powder.
Well. Yes and no.
Would you do that to your Glock?
I've done it to my Glock. The difference is it was in a ultrasonic cleaner.
Yeah, I'm talking.
It was
with hot soapy water.
Yeah,
well, the ultrasonic cleaner is not using water. It's a water chemical mix, right?
I used Simple Green.
Yeah,
Simple Green. So it wasn't like Dawn dish soap or anything like that. But yeah, it was a cleaner. It wasn't but the one thing is that I've seen people who have done that with like 1911s. So and I'll get like, hey, this 1911 is just not working right, and I'm like, yeah, there's something screwed up with like the mainspring on it. Not the mainspring, the hammer spring on this thing. And I'll take it apart. I'll pull the pin out, and then pull off the back strap, and take that apart, and it's all corroded and rusted underneath inside that plunger there. Because what happened was they would soak their gun in a ultrasonic cleaner, then clean it up. Well, it's a cup, and it just holds the water, and they didn't like completely dry it out correctly. So yeah, if you do the ultrasonic cleaner, you got to make sure you dry those guns out, and then realize that you got to get into some really deep areas and reprotect the firearm. But,
so why don't you talk about semi-automatic pistols, your cleaning process?
It's funny because we're joking around about this because I don't clean my pistols as much. I don't clean any of my guns as much as I used to. A lot of times because I'm just testing with different stuff and I just don't have a lot of time. And sometimes I'm testing how long I can go before I have to clean the gun. But yeah, on the semi-automatic pistols, it's I'll field strip it. I like to work on the barrels first. I'm just really there's just something about barrels and the lands and grooves. I've got to get them clean. I don't know what it is. That's my hang up. Because a lot of times I'm going to be soaking, especially as long as I've been shooting between cleanings, there's going to be some copper fouling and stuff in there. So I'm soaking barrels over longer periods of time while I clean up the rest of the gun. So like if I'm cleaning up, a Glock, it's pretty easy. Field strip it. I got my solvent in the barrel, letting it soak. I'm cleaning up the slide and things like that. But probably once a year, I'll even take the slides apart, and I'm cleaning out the extractor spring, cleaning out that channel. But that's a really deep cleaning. Other than that, I'm just really kind of wiping down with some solvent, and then protecting with some oil. I used to use, and people are going to cringe when they hear this, I used to use stainless steel brushes. And man, is that stuff just so damn hard on barrels. I stopped doing that a long time ago. So last time I used a stainless steel brush on a daily, a regular cleaning, my father was still alive, and he's been dead 28 years now. So it's been a while. But yeah, I learned the damage that a stainless steel brush could do to a barrel.
Oh yeah. Yep. So why don't you continue with the semi-automatics and talk about like AR-15s? What's your cleaning process for
Well,
that?
I'm going to bring up a comment real quick here from Jeff Taylor talking about SKSs with corrosive ammo. Yeah, I've shot SKSs with corrosive ammo. I've shot AKs with corrosive ammo. It was really nice back in the 90s when we had this really cheap Chinese and Russian ammo coming in for those things. And that stuff would just eat the hell out of the gun. But yeah, so like an AR, um, an AR, it's really just kind of opening it up, kind of like cleaning your break action shotguns. Because I'll just put it into the vise, open up the top. I have a little link that I put in that keeps it open, and then I have a bore guide that goes into the AR upper, and then from there I'm running everything through a bore guide to make sure that I'm going straight down the bore. I'm not banging the jag all the way down. That's the thing is I'll clean with jags. I don't clean with the when I grew up, it used to be you had the bow tie. You take the patch and put it through and make the bow tie. I switched over to jags like 30 years ago, and never looked back. But that's the thing with that is I'll clean that. Now the one thing I will do, the solvent that I've been liking lately is actually from Real Avid. It's this Bormax Spore solvent. What I like about this stuff, especially in my pistols and my rifles, is that as you're cleaning, when you're pushing your jag through, you're seeing black, right, from the cleaning stuff. With this stuff, as you're cleaning through, if you see green come through, you still have copper in it. You have copper. So this shows you that you still have some copper left in the barrel. That's the reason why I like this stuff for the bores so much, is that it starts telling me that I'm having a problem with copper fouling into a barrel. But then I'll clean until all my patches are coming through. I'll put a patch through, let it soak. Then I'm running a brush. I run brush through a couple of times. Then I'm running patches, until they're coming clean. And then wiping down the inside of the upper receiver. ARs could be kind of a pain in the rear up in the top there when the gas tube comes through. Bolt carriers, I almost exclusively ultrasonic clean bolt carriers, even in AKs and SKSs. Just because there's so many little nooks and crannies and crevices that you just can't get to. It is super cool when you get an ultrasonic cleaner for the first time. You put you can go through and clean a bolt carrier up of an AR, get that thing super clean, and then drop it in ultrasonic cleaner, hit the button, and then all of a sudden you see this black cloud coming out of it, and you're just like, wow, and I cleaned that. So yeah, I'll ultrasonic clean the bolts, the bolt and bolt carriers, just to make sure that they get clean. I'll take them apart every time to make sure that I get them oiled up and protected. Q-tips are like one of my like I buy them at Costco by like the 2-pack, just because getting into tight areas and stuff like that to clean out.
That's cool. We were talking about barrels and cleaning barrels. So for those who are watching, I have a piece of trivia for you. When you fire a round through a barrel, it takes microseconds for that bullet to pass through that barrel, correct? So if you put all that time together, how long, in actual time, will the barrel last before it's shot out by average and needs to be replaced? So if
You guys think about that.
Yeah, if you have a guest, please post your guess here. But so think microseconds, how many shots of microseconds before that barrel is pretty much shot out and it has to be replaced in tangible time.
So I'm going to answer Jeff Taylor really quick here. He says, can you use a jewelry ultrasonic cleaner? Honestly, I just use the one from Harbor Freight. It looks just like the Lyman. Magically, I'll just bill off the same thing. But yeah, the one thing about ultrasonic cleaners that I learned about is that ultrasonic cleaners they're not all the same. All right. Usually these things are running, I think these are running about 40 hertz. When you get into the jewelry ultrasonic cleaners, they start getting higher in the frequency so that they're more gentle on jewelry. And where you start doing deep cleaning, you want them lower in the hertz because they do more scrubbing because they're generating more bubbles and things like that. And you're actually creating a cavitation in the water. And that's what's cleaning the actual part. So you might be able to use an ultrasonic jewelry cleaner. Yeah, it depends, right? I mean, I've seen those little mini ultrasonic cleaners for jewelry that kind of run off a little battery or a small that might not get the job done. But like I said, I just go down to Harbor Freight, and when I burn one of these things up, I throw it out and I go buy another one. They're cheap. They're not the greatest ultrasonic cleaners in the world, but man, talking about just cleaning up bolt carriers and you just need something cleaned up pretty quick. That thing's not bad. It's not awful. I haven't bought one in a while. They used to be like $75. I don't know what they are now. But go get a Harbor Freight coupon and go buy one of those things. They're pretty awesome.
Just at Harbor Freight today.
Were you really?
Yeah. So I was out here. And
I got
equipment. So
it's funny. I got a text earlier today that Harbor Freight, the free gift that Harbor Freight text.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not going to be the greatest. This is not industrial. But for the average person, you have no idea how many times I've had pistols just in that. Gosh, even in a new video series I'm working on that Lupo's actually seen parts of, that ultrasonic cleaner makes a little debut in that as well. But yeah, so you may get away with it, you may not. It all depends.
Now, I think Jason and I had asked you that trivia question before.
I don't remember. Yeah, you're lucky. You see, the greatest thing about a driver's license is it's got my picture on it, right?
And your
address.
When
I wake up, and my address and my name, right? So that way when I go up, I go, well, that's what my name is, because I suffer from CRS. And for anybody who doesn't know what CRS is, can't remember shit. What was sad was that those were also the initials of my father. And when the first time I saw that I suffer from CRS, can't remember shit. I remember I got a hat for my father with that on. He's like, man, that's been an affliction my entire life.
So how long do you think a barrel lasts on average, regardless of caliber? The average a barrel will last.
Are you talking about years, or are you talking about the amount of time a bullet spends in the barrel?
So we know that the bullet takes fractions, absolute million fractions of time to pass through the barrel. So putting that together into more of a tangible time, right, that we can measure easily, how long will a barrel last on average, regardless of caliber, before it needs to be replaced?
2 minutes.
Huh?
2 minutes.
Okay. So we've heard 10 milliseconds and we have 2 minutes. G3, do you have a guess? Or not?
He's too busy on the Harbor Freight website looking up ultrasonic cleaners.
So the average barrel will last 6 seconds.
6 seconds. Oh, G23 said 1 minute.
Before you burnt out the barrel. Isn't that
pretty
crazy?
amazing if you think about it.
Hey, Vanessa
Kitty jumps on.
I'm sitting there like, where's Vanessa Kitty? She always joins us.
But that's amazing if you think about it. Your barrel life is 6 seconds.
Yeah, your barrel life is about 6 seconds on average, regardless of how you clean it or whatever. But yeah, that's, I mean, and then to replace a barrel can be anywhere from $200 to a couple of $1,000 for 6 seconds.
Yeah, it totally depends on. God, there's a joke in there about 6 seconds that we could not read. But anyways,
I wouldn't know that joke.
You wouldn't know that joke. You wouldn't know that joke. I'm just saying it's a joke. I didn't say it's reality, but
yeah.
But anyways, so that's pretty amazing. Thinking about you're going to get 6 seconds of life out of a barrel.
Of life, yep.
God. So here's the thing: is we've talked a little bit about some of these semis and stuff like that. You're getting big into the bolt guns. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about your cleaning regimen for bolt guns?
So this is where it gets entertaining. When we're talking different firearms, everybody's, oh yeah, clean, blah blah blah. When you start looking at things like bolt rifles, there's also this: is it a hunting rifle, or is it a precision rifle for competition? Because your average hunter is going to bore snake it, do a base cleaning, and not care too much. I mean, the ritual is, where you run some rods down it and we'll clean it out. We'll lightly oil the gun and we'll throw it in the display cabinet and it'll be there until next year we're going after another deer. And then when you start looking at precision rifles, and if you come from like a hunting background, it's like, well, yeah, I've shot bolt rifles my whole life. It's a different game. It's an entirely different game, because you're like, oh, I'm just gonna run the, and like, no, wait, hold on, you got to get yourself, a bore guide, and you got to take the bolt out and put the bore guide through that first, because you don't want solvent to get into the action, and then all right, so then I just grab this rod. No, the rod has to be a coated rod, and it's got to be a Teflon coated rod, or it's got to have a coating over it, and it's got to be long enough to go all the way out at the other end of the barrel. And you're like, all right, well then I'll just get the little bow tie pattern. No, you gotta do you gotta wrap it around the thing there, and you gotta use this type of, like, all right, well then I'll just use this solvent. No, it's got ammonia in it. It's like, oh, what the hell do I need to use? Jesus criminy. And then it's like, all right, so I'll just push it through and pull it. No, you push it through and then you remove the thing, and you slowly bring it back out, and you put another wad on it, and you push it through and remove it off the other end. And I'm like, there's a lot. I mean, precision guys are fanatical.
Well,
I mean,
and that's the thing, is
like $10,000 rifles,
If you ever have a precision guy that you just totally want to screw with, just pull out like your cleaning kit for your AR and start threading the rods together, like you're going to clean a precision rifle with it, oh my God, you will see them just completely lose it on you.
You're sitting here with a little fan. Wake up,
Yeah.
wake up. It's okay. Come on. You know,
you're getting a little smelling salts to wake them up. So they just pass out.
When we're talking like cleaning a precision rifle, the process is very, very detailed. So first of all, most of the people who shoot precision rifles clean the bolt, their bolt rifles after about 200 rounds, right? So they keep a lot of the fouling in there. In fact, a lot of them find, depending on the make of the rifle and the action, that after you've shot about 5 to 10 rounds, your groupings actually start to tighten up with the fouling. And that's depending on the rifle. It doesn't happen on all the rifles. So the rule of thumb normally is that, we clean the bolt rifles after every 200 to 300 rounds. Now, once you actually go through the cleaning process, right? We just talked about cleaning the bore. So what you'll do is you'll run through your solvents and your patches, right? And then once that's clean, then you're going to take often you take a patch that's with 95% alcohol, and then you'll run it through there to remove all the solvent out of it. And then you'll take a light oil patch and you run it through just to get, a slight coating of oil there. And we haven't even started talking about the cleaning of the action. So, removing the action and dismantling it, and then, cleaning it. So this is where like an ultrasonic cleaner is really, really useful. Just get all that carbon and all that gunk out. And once that's clean, it's a process of lightly oiling and reassembly. And then, also the outside, anything that's metal, you want a very light coat of oil on it. And be careful about your fingerprints. The oils in your hands, your fingerprints, if you don't touch a gun for a long time, you have a fingerprint there, it'll melt its way into the barrel and the metals, and it'll be permanent. And when you start getting into it, so G23 just got a precision rifle. You got an RPR? I have an RPR. What caliber is your RPR in? I got mine in I have it in 308, but I have a second barrel in at 6.5 Creedmoor, so I can swap either one back and forth because the action's the same. So what do you got yours in, G23?
He got it in 40 caliber.
You got 22 long rifle. 22 long That's rifle. Awesome.
Yeah.
So you have the RPR rimfire. I just ordered one, and I'll have it on Monday. I got the American flag.
He just told me about that like 20 minutes before the show.
Yeah. And then I built my own long range precision rifle, and I'm going to be doing an episode on my channel about it. You won it. I hate you so much.
Yeah, he won it. Nice.
All right, that beats my American flag version.
Good for you, G. That's awesome.
Did you buy tickets, or how did you win it? So I built a long-range precision rifle in 6.5 Creedmoor with a Howa barrel in action, and then an MDT. I shot one, Vanessa Kitty. I shot my first 50 BMG last week for the first time, and annihilated the water. Yeah. What?
You called me afterwards, dude. I just shot my first 50.
Yeah, because I thought you would appreciate it. I shot a 50 caliber revolver, and then I shot the 50 BMG, and we have video of it that I'll post. And as I'm lying prone and I pull the trigger, this cloud of dust washes over me. Just from the muzzle brake. It was just brilliant. A lot of fun, but remember, it's $9 to $10 a shot. So G3, how'd you win? How did you win it? We want to know. But the Howa barrel action and barrel in action that I bought, we put it in an MDT chassis, and then I put a nice scope on it, and yeah, it shoots very, very well. It's a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
that's an interesting build for you. Because I remember you talking about doing that, and I'm looking forward to seeing that one of yours turn out, because that's kind of um, the whole thing about that is that proves that everybody could build the rifle, right?
Yep. I mean, mind you, the action and the barrel are serial numbers, so I had to do a background check for that. And I bought everything else and put it together. Giveaways, and when you buy a firearm, your name is entered, and the price determines how many. Dude, that's so freaking awesome! Congratulations.
That is
That's
awesome.
really cool. Boy, I wish all of them did that. You're
Well,
gonna have
yeah,
fun with that.
if I remember correctly, I think G is in Oregon or Northern California. I think he's in Oregon. So, so he's probably buying at the last local gun store in Oregon, or at least Eastern Oregon or Western Oregon. Um, but yeah, no, that's an awesome promotion.
That's brilliant.
So, but anyway, so now that you've gone through the whole, no, you don't do this on a precision rifle, no, you don't do that on a precision rifle. What do you do? What I mean, you're talking about chemicals. I mean, what chemical do you use?
So, ironically enough, the high concentrate of the like rubbing alcohol to remove all the chemicals out of it is something I never thought about with any firearms until I got into the RPRs, and long range precision rifles. Um, it's really, really interesting. So like I said, I've been using the AMSOIL um, oil to do a light coating because it's a synthetic oil that penetrates the metals and creates a protective coating on it. The other thing I do is I try to religiously wipe down my guns after I handle them, and then put them away with a cloth because I want to keep the fingerprints off the metals so it doesn't deteriorate. There's a reason why you see black firearms a lot that are because fingerprints, um, it's very, very interesting. Um, like I said, the big thing to stay away from is if you're going to try something new as a firearm cleaning, make sure there's no ammonia in it, and I'm surprised how many actually have ammonia. And then for a gun oil, you want something that's going to penetrate the metal and protect the metal. And when it comes to the precision shooting guys, I mean, they've invested a lot of money into these rifles, and they want those
Yes, I have.
rifles to not only look good, that last as long as they can. Remember, it's only the barrel you got to replace, after so many rounds. The rest of the rifle, I mean, it's like uh, the action can run you 2-3 grand just for the action itself. So you want to make sure that lasts. So that's the process of disassembly, fully cleaning, lightly oiling, and then reassembling, making sure that those springs aren't gunky with carbon. Nothing's going to wear it out more than, like the carbon buildup because that creates an acid.
Well, it also acts like a sandpaper too,
Yep.
because now you're attracting the dirt onto the gunk. It's an acid that's got dirt particles onto it, and now you're starting to wear things down to the point where you just can't, you're actually sandblasting the internals of the gun. So
Yeah.
how often do you do a deep cleaning of a precision rifle? Like,
So
you were talking about taking the bolt apart and
right,
doing that stuff.
and then just a full disassembly. I would say probably the average from what I've talked to, and then what I've been doing as well, is every other cleaning I'll do a deep cleaning. So I'll do after about 200 rounds, I'll do an actual full cleaning, and then once I hit 400 rounds, I'll do a deep cleaning, and then go back to another 200 rounds, a base cleaning, and then a deep cleaning. And it really kind of depends. Like my zombie rifle
Yeah.
that's gonna be an
That
episode.
was a fun time naming that rifle.
So the rifle is like a dead skin gray with like a really bright, almost fluorescent green.
Yeah, you got zombie green in the flutes, and
Yeah, it's so I started calling it zombie, because it looked like a zombie, and Jason's like, "Oh, you should call it Rob Zombie," but that's already taken. I'm like, I could call it Rob's Zombie. He goes, "Yeah," or you could call it Rob's Zombie Slayer, and I was like, "And it's named."
That's it.
So
That's it.
the
For
rifle's
everybody
name is
out there,
Rob Zombie Slayer.
Lupo's first name is Rob.
Yes.
So
and it so the rifles, like I said, is in 6.5 PRC, and the only thing that runs through that is hand loaded ammo. So the previous owner really lucked out. He tried a specific recipe for hand loading on that, and he did a couple of variations, but the first one he did was absolutely perfect for that gun. The gun absolutely loves it. And he's getting he was getting like half MOAs at 500 yards consistently with his hand loads, and I was like, wow, that's
a recipe.
crazy.
That's a keeper. That's a keeper.
Yes, it is.
That's a good question that G just put in there.
Yeah.
Do you treat the hunting rifle break-in differently in the way that you do a precision rifle break-in?
So that's really dependent on the person, because you get people who buy hunting rifles who just don't give a crap, and they'll just shoot it and like, have you ever cleaned it? I thought about cleaning it, and then I sat down until that thought went away.
That's kind of like the person that brings their car to Jiffy Lube after 25,000 miles for their first oil change.
Yeah. Is there still oil in there? Oh, I came in too early.
Still has the oil from the factory in the engine.
Yeah. But I have hunting rifles. My Benelli Lupo is considered a long range precision / hunting rifle. It's just spectacular, but it's above all a hunting rifle. And I personally don't. The break-in is the break-in, regardless if I spend $100 or a couple of $1,000. So I personally don't. But like I said, you have people who just don't give a crap, and they never actually properly break in. I know a guy who has never cleaned his rifle. Never. Yeah. But for some reason, he never comes home with like any deer meat either. It's like, I missed. I don't know how I missed. I'm like,
must have been the scope. It was the scope,
always
right?
the scope, So G23, I personally don't. I think you should treat all of them the same. I don't care if you spent $1,000 or if you spent $10,000. The proper break-ins are proper. Now, the proper break-in is also different depending on the manufacturer. Some manufacturers specifically state wipe out the barrel, fire a single round, then clean that barrel again, fire 5 rounds, then clean the barrel, and then fire 10 rounds, and then thoroughly clean the barrel, and you're broken in. And it gets into detail. So when it comes down to brass tacks, you remember, everybody who shoots rifles, especially people who shoot competition long range rifle shooting, everyone is like a rear end. Everyone has one. Everybody has their opinions, right? When it comes down to brass tacks, if the manufacturer says do X, Y, Z, then you do X, Y, Z, because you have a warranty on a lot of these rifle
it's
barrels.
no different. It's no different than a car, right?
Yep.
A car has maintenance cycles. If your rifle, the manufacturer says do this, that's what you do. And then when you get older,
you get old timers like, I shoot it after 1,000 rounds, then I'll wipe a boar snake through it. And I'm like, well, how much you just spend?
That works. That works for all my pistols.
I used to like you.
Lupo found out right before this show that I get a little lax with cleaning some of my firearms, just because I'm just so damn tired from coming back from the range, and I just know that the next weekend I'm gonna be testing something out with that gun, and I just don't want to clean it again. But anyways,
so we got about 4 minutes left.
We're rolling down to the end here. So everybody, man, it's been great, having you guys, back. It's great having Lupo here. And Lupo, thanks for taking time out of the conference to talk to us. It is,
I like it.
yeah. Yeah, you didn't like those people anyway, right? I mean, right? It's just a bunch of geeks. That's all. Don't worry about it. But yeah, it's great having you back, man. It was so funny when we were talking backstage. It's like, I know it's only been a week, but for some reason it seems like it was longer than a week ago that we skipped a week. But it's great having you back, and for everybody that's watching it, make sure you subscribe to both channels here. I know we have. I've been watching the live views, and we've had people on both channels throughout through the live. So just make sure that you subscribe, because you have no idea what that does to the algorithm to help out the channels, especially in gun content, where, let's just face it, it's just not, this is just not the friendliest platform for us to talk about firearms. And since it's my turn to pick the subject, I've been thinking about this for the past about a minute and a half. So I put a whole lot of thought into this. So
for you, that is a whole lot of thought.
That is a whole lot of thought. Yeah, it's more thought than I put into a lot of things. So next week, you're going to want to tune in when we talk about reloading. We talk about reloading. And the reason why I brought that up is because Lupo was talking about the hand loads for his rifle. So definitely check us out last week. And Lupo, man, how can everybody find all your stuff?
So I'm on Facebook as well. You can just look up Lupo Outdoors on Facebook. If you go to YouTube, which are probably on, just look up Lupo Outdoors and subscribe to my channel. And content, I've been putting up a lot of shorts lately, but I'm in the process of moving. So once the move is done, I'm going to be flooding the channel with a whole bunch of new content. So subscribe now and be prepared. There's going to be some really, really cool stuff up there. I'm going to be going over the build of my long-range precision rifle that I put together. I'm going to be talking about match grade rifles. And we just filmed something called The Quest to 1,000 yards. And we just finished filming that, and we'll be editing it part by part, but that should be up hopefully right after I move.
Awesome. And everybody, I just Googled Lupo, and I apparently forgot to lock the door, and Magnum decided to come in here and join me. I just went out to Google and just Googled Lupo Outdoors, and the first hit is his webpage. Second hit is his channel. Uh, Third hit is a YouTube video. And the first video, he doesn't even get the first video for his own channel. It is actually an interview with me interviewing him. So just go ahead and Google Lupo Outdoors if you can't find him. You can also do the exact same thing for me for the Rogue Banshee. And guys, thank you so much for joining us this week. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week.